So today what we're going to do is we're actually going to rebuild a turbo. And we're not going to do a full turbo breakdown, but this rebuild is more focused on something that, hey, you bought something used, you just want to refresh it before it goes on your car, maybe clean it up a little bit, take care of some surface rust, and maybe work on some heat protection items before it goes in. So that's what we're going to work on today. What we're going to do is we're going to switch over to an Evo 9 turbo. The Evo 9 turbo got a much larger compressor size, which I'll show you in the video here. And just like a nice little upgrade. That way it's not going to stress the bottom end of the engine. We're not going to be bending rods, but also we'll probably get a nice, 20 to 30 horsepower bump out of it and pick up a good bit of top end. So that's what we're going to do today. And yeah, let's get started. All right. So here's the Evo 9 turbo. Got it used off of a local here. So what you want to look for is you want to make sure the blades are clean. There's no chipping or let's call it kind of cupping at the edges where it's showing it's bent. And the other thing you want to do is you want to take your two fingers, grab this guy right here in the center, and you just want to give it a little spin as well. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to grab that and just give it a little pull in and out. I'll go with that. But yeah, get a little, just checking the thrust bearing on that one. And this one feels pretty good. So that's what you're looking for. Other bad signs are signs of oil burning. Actually, on this side, not so much. But where you really want to look for oil issues are on this side over here. And what you'll look for is, you see how that has kind of a, let's call it like a tan color right here? That's, this gets hot. So that's just kind of showing, hey, there's some heat discoloration here. But if this was burning a bunch of oil, it would be kind of like really dark and maybe even sticky depending on how much oil was really burning off. So this one here, also, again, good to check these blades in the back. Make sure you don't have any debris or anything in there, or nothing's kind of binding up or any signs of contact of the blades hitting these outer housings. What this brings to the table is this compressor housing. This is the front side, and there's a couple easy ways to tell. You look at an Evo 9 turbo. My favorite is really just this big flat spot right here. See that right, that whole section? That is minuscule. It's tiny on the other turbos. So this big flat spot gives it away, but if you want to actually really know, you gotta look at the serial numbers. And so then looking at the numbers themselves to get an idea if you're looking at an Evo 9 turbo, this is it right here, 16G6C. That's the difference. That last little bit there, that C, is what really separates it. Now, from a lot of USDM turbos, they don't even have the 10.5 side. So the Evo 7, 8, I guess 8.0, they had a 9.8. So their hot side was actually even smaller. We're going to clean up today. It's really in good shape. Honestly, I'm probably just going to do a bit of making it look pretty, if you will. Take off some of the surface rust, a little bit of the grot that gets built up over time. I'm going to clean up some of the surface rust in these lines. These lines are different on the Evo 9. You can make the other Evo lines work if you're willing to bend these just a little bit, but this turbo had it on here, so make it easy. But I'm just going to go ahead and clean those up a little bit, maybe throw a coat of paint on them a little bit. Make sure not to touch the paint on these mating surfaces, because they'll just make a mess. But just these like little outer bands, make it look pretty. The other thing we're going to do today is I have all the gaskets. So we're going to do a full gasket refresh. So nice force performance makes this kit. It's got everything we need in there on the exhaust gasket side. It's got all these crush washers for the water lines. It's got the gasket for the oil drain line. And then even the turbo outlet gasket here. So it's got everything. Nice little all-in-one, pretty reasonable price. Turbo wrap or a turbo blanket or a whatever you want to call it. But its whole job is to keep the turbo heat in the turbo. And this is actually a really cool company I found. Thermal Zero, nice, made in the US for the guys stateside. So quality is really nice. What I liked about this, because you can get some generic T3, T4 covers to actually work on these turbos, as far as people have said. I had a T3, T4 blanket sitting in the shop. I just went ahead and tried to test fit. And here's what I don't like about the generic ones is you actually get some, we'll call it binding issues on the internal wastegate. So if you're running an external wastegate, this isn't a problem for you. But this arm, having this arm move freely back and forth is key. The last thing you want is to be mid-pull and your wastegate won't open. and your boost spikes to some 30, 40 psi, and you can say goodbye to your rods. But what's nice about this one is it's actually built for this turbo housing, and it will go on very nicely and fit, and actually has clearances right here. You can see this little cutaway. When we put it on later, that clearance is actually set up to fit that wastegate actuator arm perfectly and give it the space to move about. Right. Alright, so let's take a look at how that got us here. You can definitely see the sheen on the left there. It's a little bit shinier, a little bit cleaner, and the right, kind of the original finish, so maybe a little bit of difference. Okay, well, I would say that's pretty even, pretty clean overall. So not a huge difference. Again, we're not polishing the housing, but definite a little bit more shiny, a little bit increasing the shine, and then overall just a general more consistent look to it. It just looks clean, that's all. And yeah, it's unfortunate I can't really get a better look here on the camera of just the increase in kind of the shine it has on it, but let's see what we can do with the flapper wheel here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to focus mostly on the areas that have the most rust. Should probably wear this. Okay, so here's the painted, ceramic painted water line. So we'll get this guy on here. Don't forget your copper washers. Alright, and secure it to the inlet. Second one, making sure I got the orientation right, double checking myself, second guessing myself is more like it. But looks good. Alright, copper washers, get on there. Just getting all good and tight for now. Alright, for now for the wastegate, one thing I don't show here that's also very important, because I'm just kind of loosely tightening everything at the moment before I came back and torqued it, but that wastegate arm, right where I'm kind of attaching that cotter pin right now, bending it up, what you have to do is actually put tension on that when you're tightening it. So it's actually really hard to pull that wastegate actuator out over that arm to tighten it up, but I've seen people use compressed air to kind of push the wastegate actuator out a little bit, but ultimately it should just fit on that arm and be very tight. You have to kind of use both hands to pull the wastegate actuator out to fit over that arm, because if you don't have that pre-tension on that wastegate flapper, all that exhaust energy is just going to be wasted. Alright, now let's do some torquing with my very, I don't know what to call this, old school method of a beam torque wrench, but no, I like it. It's mechanical, it's simple, it works. As long as it starts at 0, I know it's good. Look at that. That's so nice. Cleans it out so well. That wastegate actuator has plenty of room to move. It's not going to get bound up by this thing at all. And even a nice little cutout there for the exhaust, factory exhaust shield, which I may run on top of this as well. I still have the factory exhaust shield on the old turbo sitting there, so I'll probably go ahead and seal that and run that even on top of this. So it'll be just trapping as much heat in that turbo as possible. Why? Why go through the trouble? And the answer is heat is energy. And we're trying to extract as much energy from the exhaust as we possibly can. And our goal is to keep that heat contained inside the exhaust, uses that exhaust gas energy to not only spin our turbo, but also to get it out of the engine quickly. And if we can keep that heat inside, we keep the energy in the exhaust gas, it's a win. It moves faster. Basically the easiest way to put it. If we start getting a bunch of heat energy escaping into the engine bay, obviously it's bad from a perspective of we're just getting all of our engine bay hot, which is never good. But also the other thing we have is that energy is now left the exhaust gas. So the exhaust gas doesn't have as much energy. It doesn't have as much velocity. So basically we want to try to keep all the energy trapped inside our turbo, inside the exhaust as we can. And this is a great way to do that. These things work fantastically to the point that you can probably touch them after driving the car. It's pretty impressive. But that's why we're going through all this, and why we'll heat wrap the downpipe and a bunch of other heat protection stuff, just as a matter of controlling the energy. As far as what you get in terms of power and spool, there have been a couple dyno tests that show that you get a little bit faster spool up by doing this. I mean, they're all over the place in terms of the actual impact. I always just chalk it up to as simple as it's reducing the heat in your engine bay. That's it. Heat soak is terrible. We don't want heat in the engine bay. So that alone, worth it. So before we switch gears and actually go and take the turbo off the car, let's take a quick baseline of before and after where we're sitting with this turbo. So see if I can get a before shot maybe on the screen here. I'll do some post-processing later and do a little back and forth, but you know, nicely refinished water lines, compressor housing looks nice, heat shield on the turbo itself, new gaskets, refreshed on the wastegate actuator, and everything nicely torqued to spec. Ready for all of the boosted adventures we could possibly have. Freedom!